taking place in your life and the strengthening that comes out of it, then go and share that strength with your brothers and sisters as well. So always know that, the way that God will fulfill his plans in your life will not be just through many triumphs and uninterrupted victories, but many times through all of these situations that he will put you through in order to strengthen your character. Because without character, without integrity, without the character of Christ in your life, you will not go far in ministry. Satan will always be able to use your lack of integrity and your lack of character and your lack of Christ-likeness to destroy you and to enable you to fall and to bring disaster to your ministry. So God is always preparing his leaders, as he did with Joseph. Everything that happened in Joseph's life, those 13 years, because Joseph was 17 when God calls him, and he is 30. The Bible says when he appears before Pharaoh to have his graduation and to enter into the fullness of the power of his ministry. So through 13 years, since the moment that he gets his vision, Joseph is being put through all kinds of testing and strengthening and exercises and adversities to prepare the man who will become leader in Egypt and who will then enable his family to come to Egypt and to begin the construction of the Israelite nation. So Joseph is going to be leading the most powerful nation in the world, because the Pharaoh puts him in that position of power. So you can imagine, he needs character, he needs wisdom, he needs administrative knowledge. And I will speak about that probably tomorrow, about how Joseph's life also applies to the church as a whole. But this idea that God takes 13 years after he tells Joseph that what he's going to do in his life, and he tells it to him, what God does is that he programs Joseph. Through that dream, he puts in code all the spiritual elements that will make up his spiritual journey. And then he's taking his time to prepare Joseph, to train him for that. So one of the things, for example, that Joseph experiences is that he gains a lot of administrative knowledge. And when Joseph is taken a slave to Potiphar's house, this official of Pharaoh's government and a very wealthy man, what happens? You see, the blessing of God is on Joseph. I mean, God has endowed him with blessing, because when God calls you, he also equips you. So you'll always see a certain kind of grace that follows your life, because the prophetic power of God will be within you and he will bless you as well. So when Joseph comes to Potiphar's house, Potiphar notices that somehow everything that Joseph does is blessed. He gives him $20 to go and buy some food, and Joseph comes back with $100 worth of food. He puts him to manage maybe the selling of some aspect of the economy of his house, and Joseph makes hundreds and thousands of dollars as a result. And Potiphar notices that there's a blessing to Joseph, and that also Joseph has knowledge of how to manage, how to administer things. So Potiphar very wisely says, well, I'm going to put this young man to take care of my entire house. And so he gives him full authority. And in that process, Joseph is learning how to manage, because one day he's going to manage one of the biggest public works projects that the world has ever known, which is to store enough food over 7 years that can be then distributed to an entire nation over the next 7 years. And if you think about it, I will have a chance to talk a little bit about that later on. But it's a huge state project that he has to manage. He becomes the vice president of Egypt. So he had authority over many other things. So God is looking ahead to this Joseph that will be a national and international administrator. And he's preparing him through these different experiences, these different stages. And notice something very important there, which is also one other principle that I have found in my ministry, is that God works supernaturally, but he also works through the natural. So God didn't just give Joseph, sort of spiritual, supernatural knowledge about management. Well, he gave him a gift, but Joseph had to develop that gift by practice, by making administrative decisions every day, by learning how to manage a small economy in a home. And then later on, when he's taken, you know the story, Potiphar's wife accuses him falsely of trying to seduce her and rape her. Again, trials, testing, strengthening of character, dependency on God. So now Joseph is taken to jail, and there the administrator of the jail sees again the same thing, that Joseph is gifted with administration skills, and then puts him there to manage the entire jail. Imagine a prisoner running the entire jail. And so Joseph there, for how many years we don't know for sure, is also taught how to manage, how to administer. Why? Because again, God is training him. God is working. And you must learn in your life to use every experience that you have to fashion and to construct and to build your ministry. And sometimes God will use experiences that are not necessarily ministerial in nature, that are not necessarily ecclesiastical in nature. He will use experiences that are secular, really, that don't seem to be ministry related. But if he's working in your life, he's going to use those experiences to prepare his calling for your life. What you will do is you will take those experiences, you will take that knowledge that you have gained in the secular world, and you will sanctify it. And you will interpret that experience and that